Hello, everyone. Welcome to Abnormal Investigations. I have a live for y'all tonight. I think you're going to enjoy it, or daytime, whichever time you get it. I've been getting a lot of these in the emails, and I thought we would share them. They're some of our little bit longer videos. What do y'all think about the super blood moon that is going to be coming up? I believe it's going to be on, let me see here for y'all. The super will be the 7th of September, guys. It's going to be like 85% of the world is going to see this blood moon at the same time. Very, very rare. So, September 7th, guys, check it out. It's going to be a very rare one. Alright, guys, let's get into this encounter. As I said in my room, I was attending an online class mic during the COVID-19 pandemic. I had this feeling that something was off. The house was quiet, with only the occasional hum of the electronics and the faint sound of my teacher's voice through the laptop, breaking the silence. These were hard times, I know, for everybody. COVID was hard for a lot of people. My dad was out working still. He didn't have a choice but to work. He was one of the ones that had to be there. My mom had taken care of my younger brother all this time, and today she had to take him to a doctor's appointment. And when I was alone in the house, I had this feeling of being watched. That feeling that almost makes you want to run or go to a friend's house, or that feeling might to where you just want to like not be there, or you want to be somewhere else, or not in the house, or you just want to run. It was a heavy feeling, a scary feeling, and like something was after you, but there was nothing there. And that's whenever it first happened to me. That's when I first heard it. Muffled voices. It sounded as if a group of people were talking just outside my room. At first I thought maybe someone was walking by or talking in the front yard. Curious and a bit unsettled, I paused my class and I got up to go check and see who was talking. I walked to the front window and looked outside, but there was no one there. The yard was empty and the street was deserted, which wasn't too unusual during lockdown. But I knew what I had heard, and even then I tried to make excuses to what it was. I think a lot of us do this when we get afraid. I think it's a coping mechanism that all of us have. We try to think of something to make it not seem as bad. I shook it off and I went back to my class, thinking maybe I had imagined it or that the sound had come from a neighbor's house. I would later regret that decision. Later that same day, I heard it again, whispering, clearer this time. It didn't sound like a TV or a podcast. It was like actual people talking in a hushed tones right outside of my room. It was like they were right there, and they were just, I don't know, visiting. I got very scared, and I had a panic attack. I got sick to my stomach. My chest got tight. I couldn't hardly breathe. The room got dizzy. I was weak. I couldn't hardly walk. My stomach dropped as I checked every room in the house, feeling such an unease and a panic attack. If you've ever had one, people will understand. Even the basement and the backyard. I looked behind doors and under beds and everywhere. Still not a soul to be found. Over the next few weeks, the whispers returned several times. I always faint whenever I get sick. This time I didn't, but the voices, they were just out of reach. It's hard to explain what was really happening here. It was scary. It was a feeling of something that wasn't supposed to be there. I don't know any other way to explain it. Only when I was alone would I hear these. I was able to make something out of one point. It said, and this is one thing I was able to hear, and it really bothered me. It said, "He knows we're here, and he don't know how to keep us out." I'm not sure what that means, but I felt like whatever it was wanting in, and it didn't think I would be able to keep it out. That really bothered me. I was very afraid and very scared. At first, I kept it to myself, thinking maybe it was just my head or something. I didn't fully understand yet, but then something changed. A while later, my younger brother came to me looking kind of shaken. Out of nowhere, he asked, "Have you ever heard voices in the house? Like whispering?" My heart practically stopped. I hadn't told him anything, but he described the exact same thing. The faint voices, the sense that someone was nearby even though the house was empty. I asked him, "What did it say?" And then he said, "It is hard to understand, but he did say he heard it say one thing. It said to him, 'Let's be friends.'" It was then I realized this wasn't just my imagination. He had experienced it also. We both felt a mix of fear and curiosity, wondering what could be causing these strange occurrences. We didn't know what to make of it, but we knew we weren't alone in our experiences. I told him not to talk to it or to make friends. He agreed and went to play. As time passed, the whispers became less frequent, but the memory of those eerie sounds lingered. Some people might say it was the wind, the house settling, or a side effect of isolation and stress. But part of me believes there's more to it, something we can't explain with logic or even science. I just knew that if I told my parents or anyone, they would think I was crazy, and I was afraid to ask for help. You know how hard people are judged whenever they ask for help in these kind of situations. It can be really harsh, and it causes people to hold on to these feelings. So I done the next best thing. I tried to research the history of our house the best I could, hoping to find some clues about the whispers. But the previous owners had lived there for decades, and there wasn't much information available about the property's past. I even spoke to some of the neighbors, but they hadn't experienced anything unusual. They would just smile at me like a child playing a game or that was scared of the dark. They thought I had a vivid imagination, and I almost felt ridiculed. The lack of answers only fueled my curiosity. I started reading about paranormal activity, trying to understand if there was a logical explanation for the whispers. Some books suggested that spirits or entities could communicate with the living through whispers or other sounds. Others proposed that the brain could pick up on subtle changes in the environment, interpreting them. I wasn't sure what to believe. Part of me wanted to think that the whispers were just my imagination, but another part of me knew that I had experienced something inexplicable. The whispers had been so clear, so real, that it was hard to dismiss them as mere fantasy. As I started reading the books and whispers came back, and then things really started to happen. I had things move, and I could not find them. My keys would go missing for days, and then they would just show up on the table. Lights would flicker, and things were very heavy in the home. The atmosphere became heavy, the air almost hot to where our ears would burn sometimes. I think me reading those books aloud in my room caused it to become stronger. I didn't read it to do it to cause them to become stronger. I'm just a reader that prefers to read out loud or in a whisper. I seem to retain it better. My mom one night was in the shower, and I heard her yell for help. Dad went running. I heard Dad ask her, "What is it? Someone at the window?" And she said no. Someone was standing in the shower behind me and touched me on the back. They never spoke much of it anymore. I asked, but they wouldn't say, and she said it was probably just her imagination, but I knew better. because it was just a few days later and we ended up moving. I asked why we moved, and they told me that we had found something cheaper, but I knew they loved this place. I know they didn't tell me because they didn't want to scare me. But now years have gone by since then, and the whispers have stopped, but sometimes when I'm alone and everything is still, I find myself listening, half expecting the whispers to return. It's as if I'm waiting for a message from the unknown, a message that might never come. It's not about understanding the cause, but about embracing the mystery. The whispers might be a reminder that there's more to our world than what we can explain. And that's what makes life so fascinating. The silence has been welcome change, but deep down I'm still curious about the whispers. What were they trying to say? Who are they? And what was behind them? The questions still remain unanswered. But I have a question for you, Mike, and your viewers. My question is, if I am still listening for the voices and a still part of me wants to hear them and wants them to come back, will that cause them to return? And why do I want to hear from them again? I know they are bad and that they need to stay gone, but a part of me, even now, will not let go. There's a lot of things to what you said. I think people are afraid to talk about these things because we are ridiculed so strongly right now. And we are judged harshly. Even if people do believe, they're taught not to. And they will hold that against you. And I think that causes a lot of people from coming forward, which is really bad for us, because we're not able to hear the full stories. And if we don't hear the full stories, then we're not able to break them down and investigate them and try to come to some kind of conclusion or some kind of understanding or something to at least keep us a little bit sane and understanding. But it sounds to me like for some reason something either in that home or something came home with y'all and it became attached to y'all, and it seemed probably more to you and your brother than it did your mom and them. Your mom had that weird encounter. I think that it's important to be able to talk to people, but I understand that you can't just do that. At least you had your brother, and you knew that if your brother was in it, that you weren't crazy, and I hope that you all were able to talk and kind of find, sanity and to feel secure with each other, to know that, you both were sharing the same kind of fears and the same kind of encounters. Now, as far as you wanting them to come back, will that cause them to come back? I think it can play a role in it. And I think that especially if you are doing it out loud or expressing it or saying it or giving it place, it definitely will have an impact. And why you still don't want them, or you still don't want to let go, is maybe because you don't have the answers that you wanted. You didn't fully get everything that you wanted to hear. That would be my guess. Our viewers will give you some really good answers. I'm sure we have, in my opinion, the smartest ones on YouTube and the most caring. My core supporters and all of my supporters are the most awesome people that have stood by me through hard times, and I know they will give you their best answers. Thank you everyone for listening. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you didn't smash the like button, I would ask you to hit the like button. Our likes are down, so just one little click on the like button, guys, makes a huge difference. We would appreciate that. There's also a hype button now. It's new. It's a HYPE, the hype. And if y'all would hit that, that helps my videos so much at getting, more algorithm and more exposure. I would appreciate that also on all my videos, or the ones that you like, hit the hype button. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Until next time, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.